July 9th. I woke up in the middle of the night, and when I opened my eyes, there was Mong. He was standing over my bed again with his arms crossed, only this time he wasn't smiling. Jesus Christ, I said, flipping over so I could face him. But after the first couple of seconds, I realized I wasn't as spooked as the last time it happened. What the hell you want now? I told him. When he uncrossed his arms and went to reach his right hand into his pocket, I was sure he was going for a knife. Without thinking, I bolted upright and swung for his face, hard as I could. He ducked it, though, backed off, holding his hands up. What the fuck, I said. Calm down, he told me. And then I saw he didn't have a knife in his right hand. He had a folded up piece of paper, which he tossed in my lap. I picked it up, watching him the whole time, slowly unfolded it. Looked down at the words. It was a letter from the president of all the San Jose group homes, addressed to Lester. It said the state was going to increase funding for the entire program, which would affect the sentence lengths of both current and future residents. I looked up at Mong, my heart still beating all fast. He was just standing there with his arms crossed again, watching me read. I went back to the letter. It said what Jaden was talking about before, how current resident sentences would all go full term from now on, and in some cases they could even be extended for consistent misbehavior. I looked at Mong, back of the paper. It said with the extra resources they plan to increase rehabilitation side of the program, including more one-on-one therapy sessions and educational and career counseling. Pretty much the last thing I wanted was more therapy. I handed the letter back to Mom. Said, so? He folded it up and stuck it back in his pocket. I'm leaving, he said, 1 week from today. What's that got to do with me? He shrugged, peeked over at sleeping Rondell. Maybe it's better with two people, he said, turning back to me. I stared at him, confused as hell. I knew dude wasn't asking me to go with him. Last I heard, we pretty much hated each other. He crossed his arms again. I'm asking you because I trust you. My eyes straight bugged. You trust me? I said. He nodded. I have a place we can get to in Mexico, on the beach, and I have a ride for us. If you want, once we get down there, we can go our separate ways. I pictured him stabbing me in the back on a beach in Mexico, me falling to my knees, blood pooling all in the sand. Nah, I'm good, I said, leaning back on my elbows, letting my head go against the wooden headboard. I can't be doing all that. You can do anything you want, Monk said. I shook my head, thinking about everything. The letter addressed to Lester, the extra therapy sessions and people sentences. Monk standing over my damn bed again, only this time asking me to go on the run with him. Nah, man, I said. He smiled and kept staring at me. There were a few seconds of quiet between us. I looked over at Rondell, who was still sound asleep. I looked at his Bible sitting there on the nightstand. Then I turned back to Monk and said, I know how you could get money, though. His smile got bigger. We can get work in Mexico, too, he said, at this resort they have. And it's a different country, where nobody will know us. You could get work there, I said, not me. Monk kept right on smiling, though. He pointed at me and said, I'll give you 3 days to tell me if you're going. And then he turned around and left the room. I just told you, I called after him. I can't. But he was already out of my room. I sat there shaking my head, trying to think. And then I heard the springs in Rondell's bed crunching as he rolled his big ass over. You gotta take me with you, Mexico, he said. I turned to look at the shape of him through the dark. I thought you were asleep. Nah, Mexico, I've been awake this whole time. It's my word. He went on his back and put his hands under his head, his big feet tenting his blankets way past where his bed left off. I've been in places like this since I can remember. I just don't want to do it no more. I don't even think I'm going, I said. But if you do. But if I do. He didn't say anything else. He rolled over onto his stomach and immediately started snoring. I stayed awake a while, though, letting Rondell's last line float around in my head some. But if I do. But if I do. I put my hands under the back of my own head, like Rondell always does, and stared up at the ceiling. I pictured my mom's face when she drove me to juvie, the way she kept looking in the rearview mirror or at her side mirror, even though there weren't any cars around us. I pictured her eyes when she finally looked at me outside of juvie, just before the guards took me away. Sometimes a look in a person's eyes can tell you what they mean just as good as words. I never admitted this before, but I think I know what she meant when she looked at me. Even back then I did. It was relief. It was like me going was a big weight lifted off her shoulders, like she'd just been holding her breath underwater and she finally got to come up for air. Maybe it'd be better if I went to damn Mexico, I thought, laying there across the room from snoring-ass Rondell. Even if Mong stabbed me on the beach and I had to watch my blood go into the sand, life for everybody else would probably be easier. I remember that first night back at the pad after the judge said my sentence, how I came in from me and Diego's room and saw my mom sitting on the couch in the living room, perfectly still. The TV was on, but she wasn't watching it. She was staring out the window. And when the light from the news show flickered over her face, I could see tears going down her cheeks. They were streaming out from her eyes and rolling off her chin onto her shirt. And she wasn't wiping them off or nothing, just letting them do whatever, like she didn't even know what was happening. Seeing her like that, man, it was like somebody shot me in the damn stomach with a gun. My whole body went numb, like I was dead. But I wasn't dead. I tiptoed back into me and Diego's room, climbed under my bed, and curled up on my side on the floor. And that's where I fell asleep that night, under the bed. The next morning, I got up and took my shower and ate breakfast and went to the levee with my fishing pole. And then when I came home, I went right back under my bed and slept there again. I slept under my bed every night until it was time for Moms to take me to juvie. I remember thinking how lucky I was Diego was away for that week, or else he would have kicked me out from under the bed and told me I was acting like a little bitch. But at the time, I seriously didn't feel like trying to be anything else. Here's the thing, even if it would be for the best, me going with Mom to Mexico, even if it made it easier for my moms and everybody else in my family, I seriously don't think I can do it. I'd never be able to come back, ever. And besides, shouldn't I have to stay here and suffer doing the time they gave me, even if it goes a whole year and I have to do 2 times as many counseling sessions? Shouldn't I have to pay for what I did? Wouldn't it be messed up if I just left the lighthouse and Jaden and the sentence they gave me and went to another country to start over, like Monk said? Still, though, I keep thinking, but if I do.